This podcast was created on Messy. Create your own show today at messy.fm.
Hello. This is Dee Miller, and I'm back just to talk about a few things I want to talk about. Well, actually, just one thing I want to talk about today, and that's Jason Mitchell, the actor from The Chi. A lot of people may know him. He started out, the first time I ever saw him, he was playing Eazy-E in the movie Straight Outta Compton, and he's been in a few things since then, some high-quality things at that. I think I saw him in the movie Detroit, and I did see him in the movie Detroit. He was good there. He was in a movie with Mary J. Blige on Netflix called Mudbound, something like that. And he was in Shaft last year, which a lot of people didn't really take to the new Shaft. I thought it was kind of good myself. I enjoyed it, and I especially enjoyed his character. I thought he was hilarious. But anyway, Jason Mitchell, lately has been most famous for his role in The Chi. He's like a major cast member. A lot of people think he is the star of the show. I think it's an ensemble show. I think that, he is one of the major stars of the show. But the problem is, recently, Jason Mitchell has been accused by his main co-worker on The Chi, that plays his girlfriend, Jerica, has previously accused him of inappropriate behavior, and evidently he had gotten some type of a gig with a Netflix movie, and several co-stars there charged him with indecent behavior or improper behavior. Now, besides the young lady that plays Jerica on The Chi, it's also said that there are several other female cast members of The Chi that felt uncomfortable around Jason, and Jason had, approached them inappropriately. It hasn't actually been said that it was sexually inappropriate, but the way that things are being worded, it kind of makes it sound like this, is something really bad. And it's really bad because not only was he dropped by The Chi, dropped by the Netflix movie, but he was dropped by like his manager, his agent. I mean, I don't think they would do something like that. Everybody doesn't drop you in Hollywood, especially if you're like a pretty semi-hot commodity, which means you're a moneymaker for everybody. They're not just going to drop you, indiscriminately and for unjust cause. So this is something pretty serious and pretty deep, and it's really sad because, like I said, if he's done these things that he's accused of, and like I said, for everybody to drop him the way that they're dropping him, kind of makes it seem like he did, and they have some proof as to what he's done to these women, then he's a piece of trash and he needs to go. On the flip side, it's really sad because he's a very talented young man. I don't think he's like one of these guys that's been to like, Yale drama school or anything like that. He's like straight out of New Orleans and just, naturally talented, and it's just a shame to see him go out like this. But if go out like this he must, then, that's what has to happen. It's sad to me because I actually like The Chi. I think it's a pretty good show. Now, there are people that are trying to compare it to The Wire, which, there's no comparison. In my personal biased opinion, The Wire is the best TV show ever to have been shown, recorded for TV, cable, whatever you want to call it, the best hands down. From season 1 on through the last season, the storylines were in depth. They were just meticulously written, meticulously acted. I mean, the alumni is crazy from The Chi. Michael B. Jordan? He was Little Wallace. They got killed, I think, season 2. It's just my man, Wood Harris, Michael K. Williams. Just the whole alumni of The Wire is just ridiculously talented. So no, there's no comparison in my opinion as far as that, but it's a pretty decent watchable show, and it was just starting, I think, to hit its stride, and the character that Jason played, Brandon, was especially just starting to hit a certain stride, because the whole premise of the show started out as, Chicago's a very dangerous town. There's shootings and murders there like every day, and when the show season 1, his little brother was murdered in a gun violence incident, and it was kind of got, see, that's why I say it doesn't compare to The Wire, because the storyline got ridiculous this season, where the person that, that killed his brother got out of jail for some ridiculous reason, which I can't recall all the specifics of right now, but it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And he's walking around the same neighborhood with no repercussions, and taking care of his grandma and drinking and getting drunk and acting a pure D fool. But so that didn't really make sense. But there's like some kids, 3 young boys, I think they're like in, I guess I would say middle school maybe, that some of the storyline centers around, and there's a relationship between the character that Jason plays and one of the kids that they're intertwined somehow with the shooting of his brother and the guy that shot and killed his brother. But these 2 characters have developed like a really good relationship, and some of the best moments of this season particularly have been between these 2 characters. And just the way the show is developing, I like the storyline with his girlfriend on the show, Jerika, the one who in real life he's accused of having been inappropriate with. A lot of people online don't seem to like the character, but I actually did, because she was like one of these upper middle class, who's from one of these upper middle class families, and her family was very involved in real estate, and she worked in real estate, and she got caught up with the gentrification of certain neighborhoods, and is dealing with the gentrification issue in a very different way than we've been used to seeing gentrification being dealt with. Because so far in the storylines that I've seen, the only white person that has been involved in the gentrification was the real estate broker that came to one of the older citizens in the neighborhood's house and tried to get her to move out, to try to offer her, some type of incentive to move out. But everybody else that's involved on a deeper level in trying to actually land grab and get these houses have been black people. Okay, so there's one drug kingpin that's trying to make his money legal, and he's very active in the community. He has a restaurant in the area. He does a lot of things in the community, a lot of things with the kids. So that's like a different twist. But like I said, this season was getting really, really good, because it's touching on the gentrification. It's touching on, of course, on the gun violence in Chicago. And it is touching on the youth of, how they have to deal with certain things. And this was touching on a lot of issues. I was touching on teen pregnancy, because there's another main character who's like, I think Emmett is his name, and he's like 17 years old. He already has 3 kids. And as the season wrapped up, he's been told by one of the baby mothers that she's pregnant for a second time. So if she decides to have this baby, and if it turns out that it is his child, then this is like a dad under 18 with 4 children, and he's just trying to, deal with that the best he can. Like I said, it's sad if this is true. And I'm thinking that it is true, because like I said, these, the way that he's being accused and the people that are dropping him left and right, and he hasn't himself come out and said anything. Jason Mitchell, as far as some, I know to the best of my knowledge, hasn't made any statement about anything. You've had Lena Waithe, who is a producer. I don't know if she has done any of the writing for the show, but she is definitely a producer, because I remember before season 1 even started, she was out making the rounds and talking about the show. And she's, went on the Breakfast Club and made statements saying, basically trying to get herself off the hook, saying that she hired the showrunner. She hired a new showrunner after the accusations were made by the co-stars during season 1, that she went out of her way to hire a black female showrunner, I guess in anticipation that this would make it a smoother running show and certain things might not happen. But then she went on to say that she didn't have the power to fire Jason, after these accusations were made, which really didn't make sense to me, because if you have enough power as a producer to hire a showrunner, I don't understand how you don't have enough power to fire Jason, or at least put it in the ear of whomever does have this perceived power that, this might not be a good move. This man needs to go, because he's making the women very uncomfortable, and what he's doing is borderline criminal. So that didn't happen. So I don't know what to say about Lena Waithe. I don't know a lot about her. I've, seen her, and this is the most that I know about her is this show, and I know that she's supposed to have had other shows in production. I'm not familiar with her in that way. I just caught that, snippet of her saying she didn't have the power to fire him, but she did have the power to hire a showrunner. So none of that makes sense to me, but in this instance, I guess this is just an instance of trying to cover your behind and keep your job and, still be able to do what you want to do as a career and not go down with the sinking ship that is Jason Mitchell. And I just find it odd that he hasn't made any type of statement as of yet to, explain himself or try to, well, can't justify it, but just defend himself, to say something. He hasn't said anything, so I don't know if he just plans to disappear into that good night or, if at some point he will defend himself. The people are saying that they think the character that he plays, Brandon, should be casted, however you want to say it, and the show should go on. Now, the young lady that played his girlfriend and that he is accused of harassing or whatever in approaching inappropriately, she asked to be let out of her contract, so she won't be coming back. And the way that it was written for the season finale is they break off their engagement and she moves out, which kind of confused me because her being the upper middle class person and being the person involved in real estate, I always assumed that the brownstone that they lived in was hers. So I don't know, maybe because she has so much access to whatever type of housing that she wants because of her and her family being so entrenched, in real estate, she just felt like, okay, I'll leave and he can stay there. Maybe he's going to pay her rent. I don't know. I just thought it was odd because I thought it was her apartment. So I thought if anybody would leave, it would be him because he does have somewhere to go. He and his mom owned another brownstone in another part of town. So I didn't get that. But there are a lot of little things like that in this show that sometimes make you go, and don't really add up. That's why I say it's not on par with The Wire, because The Wire didn't have those little, strings hanging like that. The Wire was very, very, very on point and in depth with everything. Every single minute detail. So I can't recall off the top of my head anything like that about The Wire, that's like, that doesn't make sense. But, I guess that's about all I wanted to say about that. I don't, it was the season finale, and one of the main characters, Reg, who is also the brother of one of the kids, got shot. Now, we don't know whether he's dead or not, but he did get shot. And he was an interesting character. But the main point that I wanted to make about this was Jason Mitchell. Is he going to come back to the show? Is Jason Mitchell going to come back to the show, or are they going to write him out? People are saying that, he should be recasted. I don't know if he should be, because it's been 2 seasons, and it's not like an Aunt Viv situation with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, even though Aunt Viv was a main character. And, I guess you could say it was an ensemble piece, but basically Will Smith was a star of that show, and it did work, and but that was a comedy. You had the Jeffersons where they recasted Lionel. That was a comedy. I personally can't think of any dramatic show, any drama show that has recasted a major character. I can't think of that off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up. But in this particular instance, I don't really see that working. And I think the corner that this character has painted himself into, he's just going to probably go to jail or get killed or leave town. I don't see it being recasted. And I hope the show doesn't lose any momentum, because like I said, it was getting pretty good. It was not getting Wire good, but it was getting pretty good. So hopefully, things will go on and the show will come back, and because you hate to see all these, talented people out of work, and not just the people in front of the camera. When a show goes under, there's a lot of people that are out of work behind the scenes. So it would be a shame for all of these people to be out of work because this young man doesn't know how to keep his hands to himself and how to behave, around women. So that's one thing. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that. You all have a good day. Be blessed. And I'll talk to you again. Bye.